There is a tradition in the Talmud that the unanswered questions called Taikus remain unanswered for as long as we are in the diaspora, when the exile is still a present reality. When the Messiah comes, Elijah comes to herald the Messiah, and that's what Taiku stands for. Tishbi Ataris Kushos Fiaboyos, which means the Tishbite, meaning Elijah, will answer all of our unanswered questions, and this, of course, is coming together with the ultimate redemption, the coming of Messiah. And this work of the Taikus is not I didn't come up with this idea. There's a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Aharon Yoshua Pessin who had this idea before me. He put together a book compiling all the Taikus in Talmud Bavli, and I found it fascinating that someone had this idea to do that, and this is my own version of that, where I read them. He has a book, but I'm making videos about them. So I started with the first Taiku based on his book. He made it easy, so I just followed his book, and so it's I'm up to the 48th Taiku, which is very interesting because 48 has a big connection with the fourth day of the week, Wednesday, Yom Revi'i, in a certain type of system of calculation that I've been doing, and it's just interesting that the 48th Taiku happens to be today's a Wednesday. But anyway, that's a side point. But anyway, the 48th Taiku in Talmud Bavli is found in Tractate Sukkah, page 33a. We'll start with the words V'havin and Ba. Ki chazar v'nizgar amay chayav lechasos hoy v'yitche. And we discussed this issue and asked, when it was then exposed, why is he obligated to cover it a second time? Since it was disqualified, it should remain disqualified. When the wind covered the blood, he was exempt from covering the blood. If so, even if the blood is subsequently uncovered, he should remain exempt. Why then is he obligated to cover the blood in that case? Rav Papa, and Rav Papa said, that is to say, that there is no disqualification with regard to mitzvah. Once the cause of the exemption from the obligation is neutralized, one is once again obligated to fulfill the mitzvah. Although there is disqualification with regard to offerings, that is not the case with regard to mitzvot. If so, Rabbi Yirmiyah's dilemma is resolved. Rav Papa gufa mibayele. Mivshit ledein di chwesul mitzvos loishen lekulam loishen lechum roi tilma sipoki bisapkale lechum ram nir lekuli loem rinam teiku. The Gemara answers, it is with regard to Rav Papa's resolution itself that Rabbi Yirmiyah raised the dilemma. It is obvious to Rav Papa, based on discussion with regard to the blood, that there is no disqualification with regard to mitzvot. And there is no difference whether that ruling leads to leniency, as in the case of a myrtle branch whose top was severed, and a berry grew in its place, rendering it fit. And there is no difference whether that ruling leads to stringency, as in the case of the blood, or one is obligated to cover it anew, or perhaps the Tana was uncertain, and therefore, when the ruling leads to stringency, we say that there is no disqualification in regard to mitzvah, and one must perform the mitzvah. However, when the ruling leads to leniency, we do not say that there is no disqualification in regard to a mitzvah. Basically, the question is, when do we say that a mitzvah doesn't get pushed off? Only when something is more stringent, more difficult, or even, let's just say, if it's an easier thing, then maybe you could, then maybe there's no disqualification, the mitzvah still stands. So the Gemara answers, the dilemma stands unresolved. We must wait until the Messiah comes for our answer to be given to this question.